Today I'm going to share with you what is inside this little box. It is essentially a travel embroidery kit that I have made so that I can take my work on the go. This is a piece I'm currently working on, and these are some of the work that I have done in the past. These are images I've taken from my sketchbooks, and I've hand embroidered the borders, added color. I'll show you in a different video how I add the color before I stitch, and then I stitched over the different images. Here's some other work that I have done as well. And this you might notice from a previous video where I did the 30-day stitch challenge and I created these birds. So this is one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to take these little creations that I've made from that stitch challenge with me different places, or when I'm sitting on the sofa, I can embroider on them and then use them in other works. So what is involved with the stitch kit? Well, there's a couple ways you can make up your stitch kit. I like the hard box, and this is small enough it just fits in my purse or a backpack pretty easily. I have used bags like this before, like little zippered bags or pencil cases. I like the harder box a little bit better. There's less likely for things to poke through or get lost, but you can make it up with whatever you have or whatever you like. I typically use a hoop of about this size. There are also smaller hoops. You don't want something much larger than this because you want it to fit easily in a backpack or a purse. But you can see like you can move the hoop around as you need to work on the project. Oops, didn't mean to hit the camera, but that's what I did here is I just kept moving the hoop around a bit. Just nice and simple. Now on some things, like both of these are stiff enough that I don't need a hoop with them. So this also makes them really convenient. This has the thick felt on the back. And so I can easily stitch with this wherever I go and I don't have to have a hoop. And this one was also pretty thick and sturdy. So I've been stitching with this without a hoop. So now let's get to what's inside the box and what you're going to want for your kit. One of the most important things to have is a good set of scissors. I did not purchase embroidery scissors for a specific purpose. You'll notice, and I'm kind of going to hold this up here, the tips on these are round. Can you see? There it goes. Can you see that? They're not a traditional pointed tip. And the reason I prefer the rounded tip is because if you are using a fabric bag, you're going to find that over time that pointed tip works a hole in the fabric bag and everything then falls out. This is really bad too if you have like a nice purse or a nice backpack because the pointed scissors can damage that. The other nice thing about having a rounded tip is that if you travel, most airlines will allow the rounded tip through security. And these are really inexpensive. These are actually a set of scissors that are designed as nail trimmers for an infant. So you'll find scissors like these in a baby care section of any pharmacy or grocery store that may be near you. As far as the rest of the items in the tips, and not in the tip, in the case, there are some different embroidery threads. Usually I choose a selection of floss or thread that match the project that I'm working on. I use these little floss holders that I've made. Sometimes embroidery kits will come with the plastic holders like these, but I don't buy additional ones. I use this as a template and I trace it on thin cardboard and I make my own little keepers that way. Better for the environment and a lot cheaper. So after you have your selection of threads, you're also going to want a couple of other tools to make things easier. They're not mandatory, but they are helpful. These are for threading needles. You essentially would slip the wire through, and one has a pointed tip, and one is more of like a wire that pulls, like a loop. Let me see if I can find. I keep a couple of needles in here. You may also want to have a needle keeper in your bag so that you don't lose your needles or poke your fingers with the needles. But that's another reason I prefer the hard case over these fabric bags because needles sometimes poke through the fabric. But essentially what you do is you put your wire through, you put the thread in the hook, and you pull. This particular one has a notch on it versus a loop. And again, you pull through. When you're out in public, you're probably touching a lot of things. And so you don't want to do that thing you see a lot of people do where they dab the thread in their mouth and use that to make it more easy to poke it through the eye of the needle when they're threading it. These are just a lot more convenient. They make things a lot easier. And if you have vision problems like I have, it's also a help to have something like this. The other thing I have that is not mandatory but does make things really easy for me is this. It's a needle minder. You can find them on Etsy. You can find them in embroidery shops, different places online. They often come with cute little designs, like this one is a cat in a teacup. But essentially, this is a magnet that is designed to hold the needle so you don't lose it. And it just fits onto your project, one magnet on either side, and it just makes it really convenient when you're out that you don't lose your needle. So this is my whole kit. I am going to do another video on how I add the color to these projects so that you get this type of a result. And I'll talk about the different materials and paints that can be used and the effects of them. This project is a little different, and this will be yet another video. I used a transfer method here to take some of my images from my sketchbook and put them onto fabric. So look for those in upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.